Hey y'all, I'm Lakhia.
And I'm James.
And you are listening to the Message 24 podcast, where each week we're talking about relationships, the growing pains of being a 20-something, and pretty much everything else in between.
Yeah, so join us every Wednesday for our new episodes.
Bye. See you guys then.
Bye-bye. Have a beautiful time.
Okay, I'll work on this later. Trying to do too much at once right now.
Trying to do two things at once.
Oh, always. When am I not? All right, well, let's go ahead and jump right in, because if not, I'm going to just keep trying to work on this. I need to be working up right now. Thank you all for tuning in to another episode of the Message 24 podcast.
Yes. Super excited for this episode.
Yes, we're glad to have all of our new listeners here, our new supporters. I know you want to talk a little bit about what's been going on for us lately.
Yeah, so I'm super grateful and just ecstatic about how we've been growing from when we started. When was it? We planned it in December of last year, but we officially launched in is it April or March?
I think it was March this year. Yeah,
March. So it's been a lot of good stuff that's been happening here recently. So I just wanted to highlight some of those things, because I know for me, I was super worked up about, I want this podcast to be so good. I want this podcast to reach so many different audiences and so many people that will be able to listen in and hopefully gain some insight and grow from this podcast. And so all within the last month, it has been really crazy. So one of our Instagram reels, it went over 250,000 views. Yeah. Which was crazy. Getting notifications and seeing all that was crazy. We really appreciate those who have been subscribing to the channel. We've seen some growth with that, and our views on YouTube. I think this month we had 5,000 views on YouTube. So that was really a good thing. And then we had last week we talked about Uno.
Oh God, people love the Uno.
The real rules of Uno, and I think that one went viral and had like 60,000 views or something like that. So
and growing.
Yes, and continuously growing. So we're just really appreciative, and we want to take some time to show our love and appreciation to the people who are supporting us, who are sharing our content, because without you all, it would not be a success. So also, if you guys want us to talk about more like maybe not controversial stuff, but topics that you have to really think if something is true or not, because that's kind of what the whole Uno thing is you may be doing something in your life and you think you're following the rules or going about it the right way, and in all actuality that's not the case at all. So it could be a myth, or you may not be following those things. So if you want us to talk about more, if you want us to talk more about subjects like that, just let us know in the comments or whatever, because I was shocked at how much engagement we got from that.
Yeah, I feel like we've been really working hard and trying to be better podcasters, like the way that we speak and the type of content that we're bringing, and everything is just growing. And I feel like it was we've talked about that. I feel like we both felt like it was a little stagnant at a point, and that can be frustrating when you are putting so much time and effort behind the camera. Like there's so much that has to be done before we even get in front of the camera, and there's so much that has to be done after we've done the episode. So I'm just really grateful for that, and the podcast is growing. And we have some close friends features coming up that I'm ecstatic about. There's going to be an amazing close friends feature for our podcast live show, so I look forward to sharing that with you all when the time is right. So yeah,
all good stuff.
We love to see it. Only positivity over here. So if you a new messenger, just keep it cute. You know what I'm saying? We rock with you. We love you. Just don't be on no craziness. Please, please, please. All right, so our in the DM for this week. Oh, and if this is your first time listening to this podcast, our in the DM essentially is what we're going to be talking about throughout the episode. We probably will go off on a tangent a little bit, but basically
we're gonna go off on something.
We're gonna do that anyway. But that is mainly what we will be talking about for the episode. So this episode is breaking up.
Yeah, so kind of switching gears from all the positivity.
I mean, but I don't necessarily think breakups have to be a bad thing.
Okay. I see where you're coming from.
They can suck at first, but for some people, that might feel good. So this could be a positive thing.
For sure.
So we're going to talk about breaking up, signs it's time to break up, friendship breakups, because I feel like nobody talks about that, and how we've even navigated through breakups in the past. So the reason we even got on this topic is because I noticed in the same day, literally 3 celebrities had to announce their divorces.
Boy, the Shade Room had some news for us.
They did, like, back to back to back. I'm like, of course, I don't know any of these people. I don't follow their relationships, but I was just like, what is in the air? Like, why is everybody breaking up? So the 3 celebrities that announced their divorce is Tia Mowry, like Tia and Tamara, the twins. Her and her husband are getting divorced, and they've been together for 14 years. Quite a long time to be with somebody. And then Miguel and his wife have been together for 17 years, but they've only been married for 3. They're getting a divorce. And America's favorite boy, Tom Brady, and his wife are allegedly getting a divorce. I don't really know if it's alleged, but everybody on the TikTok verse predicted that they were gonna get divorced. So I don't think that one came too much as a shock.
Yeah.
So, not you. You wrote down what happened. All right, let's okay. So you gonna tell us what happened?
No, I'm not gonna tell everything, but I just looked into the different couples and kind of wanted to gauge. Okay, they're getting a divorce. There's headlines. Cool. What was the reasoning behind it? Why were they getting a divorce? And so when I looked through some of the stories, a lot of them were interesting. So Tia and Corey, their story, people assumed that Corey was the one who had cheated.
Of course.
A lot in the comments.
Yeah.
But like her last post on Instagram that I've seen, she says, "I am grateful for all the happy times we had together and want to thank my friends, family, and fans for your love and support as we start this new chapter moving forward in our lives." And I was just doing a bunch of research, and I literally did not see like either party was in fault. I think it was kind of a thing of maybe they just grew apart,
which a lot of people do,
right? Yeah. And they decided to go their separate ways. So I thought that was pretty cool that I didn't see like anything like, oh,
well, Corey. I saw some stuff.
What'd you see?
People were again insinuating that he was cheating, but he made a point to come out and say, no, that's not what happened.
Right.
So people were trying to say that, and I did see him respond and be like, no, that's not what happened.
Yeah. And if it is what happened, she's done a great job of making it seem like that's not what happened.
I don't think it's anybody's business the full details of why a couple decides to separate.
Right.
And I also think it's crazy that the only reason people think marriages and relationships dissolve is because somebody cheated. Like somebody doesn't have to betray you to want to end a relationship.
Are you saying that's an immature form of thinking?
I mean, it could be, but I'm like, they cheat. Like, that's what I was thinking. Honestly, I'm like, he done cheated on Tam. Yeah. But that's not the only reason people break up.
Right.
So, but that is just the first thing I think all of our minds go to. But I don't think they really owe anybody necessarily the details of why they have to disclose why they got a divorce. It's just, we got a divorce.
Yeah. Like, and really, you shouldn't even have to say that, but because you're that status,
yeah,
people.
I wonder if they do it because it would look bad if she was like out with another man. They're like, well, ain't you married? And actually, no, I got a divorce 6 months ago, but nobody knows. But also, it's not your business. Right. Being a celebrity must be draining. I do not have that desire.
Yeah.
To be a celebrity, that must be incredibly draining. Like, oh my
Everybody's
goodness.
on your ass like 24/7.
Yes, that's ugh. Okay.
Okay, so did you have anything else for them?
No, I'm good.
Okay, so Nazanin and Miguel, is that how you say that? Sounds like Maya and Miguel.
It did. I don't know the proper way to say it, so.
I thought, so their story was similar to Tia's, and they basically said that no one was really in fault, but I just find it interesting that they were together for 17 years.
Yeah,
but they only were able to be married for 3, so it was like maybe a quick turnaround. Like maybe
it's also interesting because they had separated a few months back and made a huge announcement, and then got back together and then separated again.
And I was gonna say that, yeah, they definitely did separate, and they got, I think they were going to watch, I guess, the opening for Nope or whatever, and they got caught in the red carpet just a few months ago. Yeah. So the fact that they're now divorcing is just crazy. So I just think it's interesting that in all of these relationships, I'm not gonna go through, I guess, all of them, but the main thing is that what you see versus what is happening behind the scenes is just totally different. Even with Tom Brady situation, they were kissing all on each other, but
you never know what's going on.
Is that just for the red carpet and for people to see, so they think it's just this great image?
Gotta keep up appearances.
Yeah. So I don't think they'll be able to hear that, but
okay. I'm like, it's like a motorcycle.
We heard of a motorcycle driving by.
I thought that's what that was. Okay, so now that we've talked about some breakups of other people that we don't know in real life and kind of dissected them a little bit, do you remember your first breakup, like your first real heartbreak? Do you remember that?
My first real heartbreak. I feel like there were a few. So,
but it's nothing like that first one that really like. It's like sometimes you'll break up with people. It's like, oh, it sucks, but that first one is like.
Yeah.
I can give you a second to think if you want. Okay, so I of course remember my first heartbreak, not because it's still an emotional subject for me, but sometimes I think when I'm going through something, I'm also like, you thought the world was gonna end when this happened, and now you don't think about this person ever. You know, I think for me, it was such a bad breakup because this person was my friend. Gotcha. This is why, if you are listening, never date your friend. Don't do it. I'm telling you, it's the worst decision ever. It doesn't work. Because if y'all were going to be together, y'all would have started out as like romantic. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I don't know if I can totally agree with you on that, but
dating your best friend, that's stupid. Anybody I know that's ever done it, it never ends well. It never ends well.
There's some people that literally like is another person's best friend, but
I'm just speaking from personal experience from what has happened to me and what I have observed with a lot of other people. If you have been friends with someone for years, it's strictly platonic, and then all of a sudden y'all start getting an interest in each other, the relationship can either go really, really good or it can end, and then you don't have that person as a friend anymore. So it's like you dealing with a romantic breakup and then you're dealing with a friendship breakup. So it's, you essentially are grieving 2 relationships. That's why I say it's normally not a really good idea, because if you were truly romantically compatible with somebody, I think that's what you would have led with, so to speak. So that's why my first breakup was so, my first real heartbreak was so hard, because I had been friends with this person since like second grade. So gotcha. This is like years and years and years of a friendship. And it's like, I think what added insult to injury is because I knew this person would not be a good romantic partner. Okay. But I think sometimes, I'm not going to say as women, I can only speak for me, we get it in our heads that because we were friends with them and we've seen how they've treated other women, they're not going to treat us like that. They would never treat us like that. And they will turn around and dog you out the same way, walk you on a leash, the same way they were walking somebody else on a leash. And that's essentially what happened to me. Like, I'm kikiing with you when we were friends about the way that you were out here walking girls on a leash, and then you turn around and walk me just as hard, if not worse. You know what I'm saying? And I remember telling my mom, and she's like, I know this hurts. She's like, and there's really nothing I can do to like help you, because it's not something you're gonna get over overnight. Like, it's something that takes time. I remember I remember she made me something really good to eat, and she was like, I know this seems like the worst thing in the world right now. You feel like you're gonna die and you can't sleep, you can't eat. I think that's the first time I ever was like depressed. Like, I didn't want to get out of bed. All I was listening to was sad songs. I didn't want to go to school. I was really like, I cut my hair, chopped all my hair off. Like, I was going through it. And she was like, but in a few months, you're not going to think about, you're like, it's going to get easier. And then a few months after that, it's going to get even easier. And then a few months after that, you're not even going to be thinking about this person. Right. And she was absolutely right.
That healing phase.
Yeah. But I think that healing is rough. Like, it's really, I was going to say I don't wish it on anybody, but to some degree when you're dating, it's going to happen. Like,
you gotta get your heart broken. That. Yeah. And I can agree with you when you said, what did you say?
Don't date your friends.
No, not dating your friends. It was something that you said, like, you were kind of warned by the guy. Mm-hmm. And I will say this I won't speak too much on my first real heartbreak, but no, you don't. But no, you don't. If somebody warned you about a person, don't just let it go over your head.
No.
Some people are probably asking, what do you mean by that?
You in this TikTok, man. I really cannot with you. Let it go.
I'm meaning exactly what I said. So I had to steal that.
I see.
That TikTok sound. Like, yeah. Make sure if you're warned, take heed to that warning. And then secondly, I think when breakups take place or when you're really, really heartbroken, for me, I don't know if this is a guy's thing. It probably is a woman's thing too, but
a people thing.
Yeah, a people thing. Once it happens and you are you basically the victim, you turn into a fucking animal. Like, well, maybe you didn't.
No, that shit woke up. I'm a fucking monster, okay? I really be trying to watch my cousin up here, but it woke up a beast, okay? I was walking people on leashes.
Okay, so you feeling me now.
So, after you get walked on a leash, you finna walk other people on the leash too.
Yeah, so, and not even from you coming from that form, and yes to that too, but also just like making sure that you're the best individual possible. Like, I started going to the gym more. I started just making sure that I looked better. It almost brings a sense of just make sure I'm that like person. Like, I'm not worried about whatever anybody has to say. Like,
but is that the truth? Because I feel like post breakup, when people do all of these different things, it's kind of to show like I'm okay, like I'm good. Yeah, I got my heart broke, but I still look good.
Yes, it can be in a form, but it also can change your, like, I would say for me that was the case at one point.
Yeah.
But it also turned me into like, hey, I want to be a better individual. I want to be like better than I was. Like, just
I'm glad you had that experience. I mean that with all sincerity. I am glad you had that experience.
Yeah, I mean,
that is not
what?
That is not even close to the experience that I had, but that just shows the type of person you are.
Got you.
You're a good person at heart. I mean, I'm a good person at heart too, but
what do you mean by that?
Please. I'm not about to do this with you. I'm not about to do this with you because you know what I mean by that. Please.
But yeah, that was all I had.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I think you're a good person because getting your heart broke, it can really distort your view on a lot of stuff. Yeah. And I don't even think some of the stuff I was doing was intentional. It's just like, I don't want nobody to get too close to me because I don't want to feel like that again. So I'm going to just keep you right here. I'm going to compartmentalize where you belong in my life. And that's it, and that's all, basically. All right, so we can go ahead and jump into our Send or Delete segment. If this is your first time listening to the podcast, the Send or Delete segment is basically where, I'm talking real fast. Let me slow down.
All right, not too slow. Now you got me damn tweaking.
Our Send or Delete segment is where we basically give our opinion and our thoughts on different topics. But since our In the DM for this week is breaking up, I said our In the DM for this week is breaking up. Yeah, our In the DM for this week is breaking up. Our Send or Delete is going to be focused on 5 signs it is time to break up. And the number one sign that it is time to break up is if there is no trust or respect in a relationship. If your relationship lacks trust, stability, and respect, that is a train that is headed to Nowheresville. It's not going to go in there. Because if you can't trust anything your partner is saying to you, you're going to question every single thing that they do. You're going to internalize every single thing that they do. And if your partner has been untruthful in the past and now they're being truthful and you're still questioning them and everything that they're doing, like,
you just need to take a step back.
Yeah, it's just not gonna go anywhere. And that's what makes me wonder when I see people take back someone that has cheated on them. That's the thing I'm always thinking, like, how do you come back from that? Because a lot of people do. A lot of people, cheat on their significant others and they're able to like come back from that. And I've always said this and I still stand on that. If someone were to cheat on me, I would not be able to take them back. Right. Because one, I feel like I'm working on not trying to I'm working on not feeling like I need to get even with people, like I need to get better. So my thing would be like, well, if you cheated on me, can I go do it? And then we even, like, we good? Like, you know what I'm saying? But that's not going to fly. But I'm just saying, like, if women did that to men, like, if a guy cheated, okay, let me go get my get back. There's no way they could handle that. Right. Like, I think it's the fact that one,
just
she gonna cheat.
Your girl fucking
then she
somebody.
Tell you straight to your face, like, I'm finna go do it. You wouldn't be able to handle it. And then I think the other reason why is because that's so disrespectful to do to somebody. And I know that I could never be with somebody who doesn't respect me. Right. Like that's incredibly disrespectful, and I don't know how people do it. I truly don't. And I don't want to know because I don't want to experience that. But I don't know if there is enough work in the world for someone to cheat on you. When I see like celebrities will cheat on their partners and then go have multiple children. It's like, how do you come back from that? Like, what type of work has to be done to navigate and to move past that and to fully trust someone who's crossed that type of boundary?
Well, I will speak, I guess, from the perspective of, because I am a Christian, so the only thing, that I can think, yeah, but
I know that, baby. I'm just saying, I'm just being stupid.
But I'm thinking from a standpoint of forgiveness, which, if you truly have a sense of forgiveness, some people can forgive and move on, which is fine. Like, or some people can forgive and stick with. So I guess it's just personal preference, but I think either way throughout that process, you have to forgive that person to be mentally okay. Like,
agreed.
It's just how you move.
That's why when I say I speak for me.
Right.
You have to even heal from that, you got to forgive the person.
Right.
But to forgive them and then continue to want to be in relation with that person, that's a different level. And I guess I say that for me because it's incredibly disrespectful. And if you don't respect me, you don't respect us, it's nothing. Like, it's nothing for us, it's nothing for us to move forward. There will never be anything like you could say to me that would make me believe anything that you're doing.
Right.
So it just would be I think a lot of times when people take back someone that has cheated on them, it just kind of prolongs the inevitable breakup because it's coming. I've seen that happen. If their significant other cheats on them, they take them back, they still end up breaking up 6 months later. Like, you really should have just broke up then. You prolonged it thinking, okay, we can work on this, we can move past it. Nah, you should have just let it go back then.
You're gonna be sick and you're not gonna be trusting that person.
No. So the second sign that it could be time to end a breakup, that phone be going off.
Get back.
Every episode. It's a rite of passage now. Like, every episode.
So listen. The
sound come off.
I have my phone on Do Not Disturb normally.
Yeah.
But now I've cut it on because I want to make sure that I answered the important calls and the important texts. So now.
Please spare me. Please spare me. Please.
So this is why my phone blows up.
So it's normally on Do Not Disturb.
Yep.
But it still goes off.
But
because you take it off of Do Not Disturb.
Yes.
But it's always on Do Not Disturb.
Recently I've had it on Do Not Disturb, but now it's come back on. I have to make sure I answer your phone calls. Mom's phone calls. Mom. I said mom.
I didn't hear that. I'm sorry. I didn't hear it.
What do you mean by that?
I knew you were about to say that. Please. If I had a machine that I could go in your brain and steal memories, that's when I would steal. So that you would forget that you ever heard that. Like, I would pluck that one straight out of your brain.
I probably would find something else that.
And I'm going to pluck that. I love when you forget the crazy stuff that you said to me. You be like, what was it? And I just be sitting there thinking thank
It'd be some good creative stuff that we together come up with.
I would not call that good or creative.
You partake in some of this stuff.
I do not.
And you do some little cute stuff too.
When I said it was cute. Okay, let's get back to the topic. All right. The second sign is you often feel alone in the relationship. So if you are the person in the relationship that constantly is the one planning dates, constantly having to call your significant other, text your significant other, and you feel like they are not making an effort to meet your emotional needs, then that is very likely a sign that it's time to hang it up, especially if you brought these things to their attention. I think it's one thing if you haven't said anything and if you've said something and that behavior continues, and it's like, do you care enough to try to put the effort in to do this? So I don't really have much to elaborate on that. I feel like that is pretty black and white. But if you feel like you're in a relationship by yourself, then you might as well just really be in a relationship by yourself in real life and not have to worry about another person anyway. So number 3, I think this is an interesting one. Your values don't match up anymore and your interest in the relationship has dwindled. Not you.
I think we should
dwindle.
I think we should read together. I think we should read.
That's my Halloween voice. It's like the Frankenstein voice. I'm just gonna stop. Because it's just not gonna go well. But the voice of no, it's Dexter's Laboratory. Oh, the thing.
It sounds like you.
No, the steez.
Like Luigi or Italian. Somebody don't want to hear this.
I'm not trying to sound like Mario and Luigi. I'm trying to sound like Dexter from Dexter.
Okay.
Oh, the. Man, I don't care. The people that ain't seen Dexter's Laboratory, y'all know I sound like Dexter.
Yeah.
I sound like Dexter. Okay. So, like we were saying, your values don't match up anymore and your interest in the relationship has dwindled. So, examples of your values no longer matching up could be if your interests in life goals do not align. Like, you want to have kids, your partner doesn't want to have kids. Do you want to buy a home? Your partner doesn't want to buy a home. Is family important to you? Family is no longer important to your significant other. How you want to raise your children, if you want to have children, those things.
Where you want to live.
Yes. Yes, those things should line up. And if those things no longer line up, then it's like, well, I can't force you to change. I don't want you to change just for me because I don't want you to be unhappy. That sort of thing. But I think the interest in the relationship dwindling part, it's interesting to me because when I think about interest in the relationship, this could happen in short-term relationship, long-term relationships, but I normally think about it in long-term relationships where people have been together for 40 plus years. And I've seen like married people say they kind of hit like not a wall, but kind of a point where everything is so routine. It's like, this is boring.
Right.
And they have to figure out a way to get out of that rut and get out of that routine and kind of spice things up and keep their partner on their toes. So I think at some point in a relationship, but I don't necessarily think it's losing interest though. I don't think it's losing interest.
I think it just becomes a point where everything, like you said, is routine.
Yeah.
And I feel like you're not going to know what that feels like until you've been in it for a long time. Yeah. And not only a long time, I think people get busy too. Yeah. Like children and just work. Those busy schedules kind of play a part into beginning that routine kind of thing. So once you have that routine going and then you're not tending to your partner and making sure that you're being intentional with how you date them, the things that you do to spice things up, then that's when I think that phase starts. So I feel like you have control of part of it, but some of it is... You just got to really be intentional. Yeah. So that's why I was saying, I was trying to say that's the same thing as losing interest in the relationship, but maybe it's not. Maybe that when you're losing interest in a relationship, it's like, I don't even care enough to try to break the routine, try to spice this up, try to make this different, try to make this work. I think that's what maybe losing interest in a relationship looks like versus, okay, this is boring. We need to figure out how we're going to make this not boring anymore. Yeah, I think losing interest kind of ties into what you talked about previously. What was the second one that you
So the mentioned? Second tip was you often feel alone in the relationship.
Yeah, so I feel like that could play a part into you feeling alone in the relationship and just kind of losing interest at that point.
Because the other person probably has already lost interest.
Yeah.
If they're not even caring enough to put in to meet you halfway or to help meet your needs or to even try to meet your needs, they probably have already like checked out. Mm-hmm. And they're just still there at that point. So number 4 is you're only
in the relationship. Let's read it together, baby.
You scared me. Please. I'm gonna let you read it. No. You can read it. No.
What? I'm just confused about what scared you.
We read in Rainbow. You read it. Because I'm like, why is another voice echoing? Like, what is... I'm thinking something wrong with the microphone.
No, that's why I tried.
I didn't know what was going on. Like, really.
I think we should read it together.
No, I think you should read.
Come on.
No. The spotlight is yours. The floor is yours. Come on.
All right. So it says, you're only in the relationship out of obligation. Quality versus quantity.
You did amazing.
Thank you.
I'm proud of you.
But I want to read it with you for next one.
That's not necessary. We don't have to do everything together. I don't think that's necessary.
I disagree.
All right. Well, we can agree to disagree.
What do you mean by that? Oh, it's been a long day today. I can't wait till we can get this this good food.
Yeah, I'm ready to eat and you playing around. So basically, if you are in a relationship with somebody because you have invested so much time that you feel like you can't afford to like just let it go, but you aren't actually happy in the relationship, it's probably a sign you should hang it up. And when I think about this, I think about people who have been married for 30, 40, 50 years and they get a divorce.
That is the craziest thing to me.
That is so... But you know how fed up you gotta be, like, to...
Let it all go?
Yes. And then to release that fear of, well, what if I never find anybody else? But you don't even care. You just don't want to be in that relationship.
You want to be happy.
Yeah. And you want to put yourself first. And I think a lot of people are afraid to do that. They're like, we've been doing this for so long. But if y'all have been married for 10 years and you were only ever happy for 6 months in a relationship, what's the point of staying in the relationship?
Right.
But people, I think, just get caught up so much on the time side. We just put too much time in this. You're just going to keep spending time into a relationship that doesn't make you happy when you could leave that relationship and be happy with yourself, or go and maybe be happy with somebody else. There's people out here I saw on TikTok. It was an 80-year-old man that got married. I don't think finding love has an age limit on it. You can find love at any time in your life.
I think people are afraid of taking that leap of change. Like, life-changing decisions just scares people, and they'd rather sit in a mess versus take the necessary steps to change.
Well, I think I get why it's scary, because it's the fear of the unknown. Like, if you've been married, or if you've been in a relationship, if you've been in a relationship for 10 years and then you decide to leave that relationship and you start dating again, dating looks very different than what it looked like when you were dating 10 years ago. Yeah. Like, the way people meet each other now, it looks different. So that's kind of, scary. And then you also can hear about people saying the dating pool is trash, like it's nobody out here, it's nothing. So it's really easy to just be like, okay, well, I'm gonna just sit. This isn't great, but I guess it's better than having nobody. Yeah. That sort of thing.
When you said that, I was coming from a mindset of fuck that, but
fuck that.
But that's coming from a state of mind of how I am now, and that took time to get there. But for certain people, you may have different options. Kids are a huge thing, so you may not want to jump out of that. So I'm coming from a standpoint of being single with no kids. So it's
a lot easier to
just say that.
Yeah, but when you add in, if like people own businesses together, they own a house together, that's a lot of like layers that
to split up and to
y'all. What if y'all have the same friend group? Can you still hang out with the friends? Like, it's so many layers of things that go into that. So I can see why it could be difficult for people, but that's definitely a sign that maybe it's, hang it on up, it's okay. And then lastly, these are not all the signs that you should break up. There are many, 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 many more signs, but these are just the top 5 normally. And last but not least, we have you're not the best version of yourself. And this could be a kind of sign that's a little bit tricky or difficult to identify if it's you or if it's the relationship. But you really have to kind of be honest with yourself when you're asking this. I do think there are points in our lives where sometimes we don't feel like the best version of ourselves, and it's okay, do I not feel like the best version of me because of something I'm not doing? Or is it the relationship that's kind of making me feel less of who I am? That sort of thing. And I saw that some questions you can ask to try to help yourself figure out, is it the relationship or is it you? You can ask yourself these questions. Does your partner complement your personality? Is your partner also the best version of themselves? Because if neither, is it neither or neither? Neither.
I think it's neither.
Neither of you?
If neither of you. What do you mean by that? Yo, please. All right, I'm done.
I'm gonna just say, if neither of you are the best version of yourselves, then it potentially could be the relationship that is making both of you feel that way. And then, does your partner have a positive influence on you? Or are you dating someone that's incredibly negative?
That's huge.
Yeah.
That is huge.
Yeah. And is their negativity influencing you and causing you to be negative? And that's why you don't feel like the best version of yourself.
You just nailed it right on the head. And going back to a previous breakup that I had, that person just didn't have much substance, but I also noticed like the negativity that they brought. Yeah. It impacted me. Yeah. And I think that just goes not even from a relationship standpoint. I am huge on, and I feel like you are the same or similar. I'm huge on negative energy not even being placed in my area. I know that people have issues, people have problems, things like that, and I'm willing to listen to those issues and problems. But if you are creating problems and creating issues and creating a bunch of negativity, I will not associate myself with a person who is continuously doing that and pushing that and almost bring me into that. Yeah. So that's an interesting point, because I also saw on Twitter this thing, and it's like, I should have saved it, but it was like, sometimes this is like talking to your boyfriend, and it's like, sometimes when I'm upset, I don't want you to give me advice and a step-by-step guide to help me navigate this. Sometimes I want you to sit and cry and be upset because you see me so upset. Gotcha. And I can relate to that and feel that way. And I think it's because apparently it's a guy thing, because I'm not the only one that feels this way. But if a guy's girlfriend or his wife or whatever comes to him crying, their first reaction is like, okay, you need to do this, you need to do this. When it's like, dang, I know what I need to do. I just want you to just be so upset because I'm upset. But that's really negative. Like, I don't really want you to be crying because I'm crying, because I'll be like, damn, this is about me. This is not about you. It's just a funny thing to think about, that men, when their significant other is down, their first reaction is like, well, you gonna sit here and cry, or you gonna do this? This is what we can do. Yes. Let's take some action steps. Let's do this. Yeah. And I am that person honestly, I'm working on that, because I have been that person for my friends. When they're coming to me and something is wrong, I'm like, okay, suck it up. Like, you need to do this. But I'm learning people also really do need to like feel
how they're feeling and sort through that instead of just suppressing it and jumping straight into working on it. So I am normally that person. If you're going through something and you really need a game plan to figure out what's going on, I'm your girl. And if you want to call me and just cry for a little bit, I always ask, I said, are you calling me to vent or you calling me to ask for advice? Because I'm going to put on two different hats when I do that. But I just thought that was funny that, it seems like a good majority of guys can be that way.
And that's true compassion when you actually listen and feel what they're feeling and just allow them to feel that. That's kind of the definition of compassion.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we want to get you we want to turn that compassion to get you to a solution. So
yeah. And I also think compassion can have limits. It's like, that sounds so bad. But I'm saying it's like, if you keep coming to me crying about the same thing, it's getting old. I really need you to figure it out.
right.
Depending on what it is, of course. But it's like, if every day you crying, you hate your job.
Switch jobs.
You know what I'm saying? If you don't like your coworkers.
And that's why I don't want to hear all that.
Leave your job. You know what I'm saying?
That's why I don't have many.
That to me is that's when it becomes negative to me. We can talk about it a few times, but if every other week you calling me crying about I'm like, yo, please. Because now you draining me. Now I'm drained. I really need you to figure it out.
For me, it don't take about two good times.
I try to hold as much space for my friends as I possibly can. And I don't ever want them to feel like I'm judging them because it's not my place. I'm not God. I can't judge nobody. I can't judge nobody. But I will just be like, okay, are you done venting? Do you want to hear what this looks like? And it's just like, if you keep crying to me about the same thing, that's insanity. Insanity is literally doing the same thing every time and expecting a different result.
Right.
And it's like, you clearly like this. It can't be that bad because you keep doing it.
And you're still staying there in that situation, and you're not taking any action steps other than complaining.
Yeah, you like it. Right. That's what you gotta like it. There has to be a part of you that likes it a little bit. Because why are you still there?
If you hate something so bad to where it's driving you up a wall every single night, every day, all the time.
Well, I kind of hate school. But I don't hate it all the time.
But I feel like you still are able to enjoy it. So
I enjoy certain aspects.
Even if you do hate it, you are constantly making an effort every week to get out of that.
Yeah. I'm trying to get through it. I'm trying, but
there's an action plan still.
Yes, that's true. But every week, come on, you like it a little bit. Because when we right here, if I don't like a job, I gotta go. I don't care.
I'm good as gone.
Good. Ain't no 2 weeks. Nothing.
Yeah,
gotta go.
I will give not even a day's notice.
You gave an hour notice. I ain't never done. You know what? I have. I've done that 2 times actually. But it's because what's the point in staying there? It's no point.
I mean, why would I be unhappy for another 2 weeks?
Exactly. And a job will drop you, and they don't care that you got bills to pay. They don't care that you got a family to feed. So why do you care they're going to be short a person? They don't. That wheel is going to keep turning. They're going to keep making money whether you dare or not. So if you really hate your job that much, just get another one. Please. So next, I feel like I want to touch on it a little bit because I don't feel like people talk about it enough when they talk about breakups. They don't really talk about friendship breakups.
These are the tough ones.
Yes. And honestly, I feel like friendship breakups are worse than romantic breakups. They can be. Why you look? Maybe it's different because you're a guy, but I think
I'm sure. I mean, from other guys, could be.
Yeah, but I think it's because when you go through a romantic breakup, your friend is who you lean on. But it's if you don't have a friend anymore, who do you talk to? you don't have your romantic partner, you don't have a friend to talk to. It's like, you don't have anybody. And I've always really wondered why friendship breakups hurt so bad. Right. Because I've gone through 2 or 3 significant friendship breakups in my life. And they really do take a long time to like get out of, because when I'm best friends with somebody, we do everything together. So it's really hard to transition from I do everything with this person, I'm so close with their family, to not talking to that person. It's really hard. And I needed to know for myself, why do friendship breakups hurt so bad? Yeah. So what I learned is a lot of times when friendships end, it's not because of some big like argument or somebody just did something terrible. That's not to say that isn't why some friendships end, but most of the time it's not the case. Right. It's just like you were in a completely different phase of your life as the other person, and you're growing in 2 different directions, and that sucks. That hurts. I think it would make it easier to get over a friendship breakup had somebody done something to just betray you. Right. If there was a significant reason of going your separate ways. Yeah. It would, I think it would make it easier to be like, forget this person, like whatever. Mm-hmm. But to think about the fact that it's we just are not on the same page, like we're growing apart. That is a really, really hard realization to come to, because nobody's really at fault. And it's almost tough because now that you're mentioning that, I'm like, I've never had friend breakups. Mm-hmm. And I have. You have. And now I'm just realizing it. Yeah. Which is crazy. It's almost like, I'm gonna be honest, from a man's standpoint, I mean, you don't even want to, it's something that you don't really want to recognize. Yeah. Which is crazy. Yeah. It is. And it's like, because nobody's at fault. So yeah. I think sometimes having somebody to blame for something makes it easier than the fact that it just went away, and that sucks. And I also think people don't talk about friendship breakups the way we talk about romantic breakups. Yeah. Everybody can tell you, a heartbreak like that, but nobody really talks about what it feels like to lose a friend. And it's like, if it's a really good friend, you really have to grieve the loss of that person. Mm-hmm. And because nobody talks about friendship breakups, it can make it hard to want to talk to another friend about it, because it's like, especially a non-close friend. Yeah, especially if that person was the only close friend you had. Number one, that's terrible. Right. But number two, if you do have another close friend, it's like you want to be able to talk to them about it, but you don't want them to feel like they're also not important in your life. It's like, well, you sit over here crying about this person, I'm still right here. So I feel like a lot of times people keep friendship breakups in. But I think my first friendship breakup, I didn't have anybody to talk to because it was just me and that person. So it was really, I just had to sit with it. And then making new friends is really hard. Making good friends is really, really difficult to do. So I don't think, because there's not like an app for meeting a best friend, or actually I think there might be now, but it's still difficult. It's difficult to make good friends. Yep. And something else I will say, I was learning about this when I was working on the outline for this episode, but then I also heard it on another podcast that I listened to. A lot of times in friendships, we don't outline and say what we need from our friends. And it's really easy for people to not meet expectations because you haven't outlined exactly what I need from you as a friend, kind of the way that we do in relationships. Yep, it's almost like it's an unspoken promise. Yeah, but then you get upset when someone doesn't show up for you the way that you needed them to, but you never told them what you needed from them in the first place. You know what I'm saying? You're not doing the proper communication. No.
But it's weird though, yeah, because when I think about it, I've never stated that.
No.
What I need from, I don't know, from my standpoint, it could be a lack of communication or just, I don't know. But it holds truth. It
does. I asked my friends that yesterday when I thought about it. I'm like, what do you need from me as your friend in this season of your life? Because all of our lives are different. So what you needed from me, some of my friends I've been friends with 10 plus years. So what you needed from me 10 years ago probably looks really different from what you need from me right now. So let me just check in with you and do that. So then me not meeting your expectations or you not meeting my expectations isn't, well, it still could be a thing if you don't meet them, but at least they have been outlined. So if you do something or if you don't do something, I can say, well, hey, I did tell you I needed this from you, versus you didn't do something, but you didn't know I needed you to do it.
And then you get mad. Yep.
Yeah, but how can I get upset if I never told you I needed it? I guess some things we would think would just be like common, knowledge, but all of us grew up differently. So what is common to me might not be common to somebody else. You know what I'm saying? And then the last thing I'll say about why friendship breakups suck is because you don't really know the terms and conditions of the breakup. It's like, we aren't angry at each other. So do I still tell you happy birthday? Do I still tell you Merry Christmas? Do I still speak to your family when I see them? Because we're not upset, but we just kind of have grown apart. Like, do I still follow you on social media? Like, I think it's so many weird things that you that are not explicitly stated with a friendship breakup. Because like, if it's a romantic breakup, of course I'm not following you on social media. Of course I'm not going to tell you your birthday. Of course I'm not going to tell you Merry Christmas. Of course I'm not going to tell you these certain things. Like, I'm not going to do that. If I see your people, I'll speak to be respectful, but am I going to be going any further than that? No. But if you were friends with somebody and y'all just kind of grew apart, it's weird trying to figure out, do you still do those things? Do you still have a close relationship with their family, even though you don't have a close relationship with them anymore?
Yeah, and I think when I was listening, I think it depends on what exactly y'all's relationship was. So like you said, I didn't even think about family or other parties being involved.
Yeah.
But I think from my standpoint, which I can't speak for all men, but I would say that gets to overthinking it a little bit. Just because if I want to, like, I just don't look that deeply into following, one of my boys or not following them. Like,
yeah,
I don't know if we take it that personal.
Maybe
per
not.
se. Like, if we see that you posted for your birthday and we've grown apart, I'm gonna still tell you happy birthday. That may just be from me having a kind spirit, but I'm not about to go out my way if I see that it's your birthday and I knew we was tight at one point and I literally see it. I'm not gonna be like scroll past or not like the picture or whatever it may be. So I don't know if we think about it in those terms. But what was I think you said something else
about their family, or telling them like happy birthday.
Their family, happy birthday. What did you say is a little bit of confusion about what that?
Well, the terms and conditions of the friendship dissolving. What are they?
Yeah, and I still would agree with you though. It is a bit weird because you're like, okay, even though we're not thinking about maybe the social media side of things, we may be thinking about, are we still gonna hang? Like, it's more of are we still gonna hang out? Should I invite them to this?
Yes,
things like that. So I still agree with you on some level.
So it makes it tricky, but I even think if I was friends with somebody and we just grew apart, I still love them. I still wish the best for them, but do I want to see them on social media with their new friends? Maybe not, especially if I haven't made new friends, which isn't the best way to be, but that's just like a realistic thing. If you were super close with somebody and they just stopped making an effort for your friendship, but then you see them buddy with somebody else on social media, that might hurt. It probably would hurt a lot. So it's like, I don't really want to see that. I'm not angry with you, but I don't want to see that for my own mental health. Like, I don't want to see that. So, I mean,
I can't agree with that portion of things, but I feel like
that's okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
You also are a man, so right. That looks different, but that's something, because I've gone through a friendship breakup before, like that, it does not feel good to see that. And it's like, well, if you were my girlfriend, like we were dating each other, of course I wouldn't want to see you with, of course I don't want to be your friend. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to see those things, but people don't really talk about it for friendship breakups.
What you're saying is it's very clear what the terms and conditions are.
Yes.
When you go through a breakup with a partner versus a friend.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's very different. So it's like, do I take our pictures down? Do I, do I not tell stories about the stuff that it's just so many things that people don't talk about. And that is why they suck so bad.
Gotcha.
That from what the research I've done, because I needed to know. Because a friendship breakup hurt real bad, like real. Romantic breakups hurt too, but a friendship breakup, I don't wish that on nobody. And again, guys could be different, but I'm telling you, I don't wish that on anybody. So we're going to go ahead and get up out of here really quick. We are going to move into our Help Center segment. And if this is your first time listening to this podcast, a Help Center segment is basically where we give advice or tips for whatever it is we've been talking about this episode.
Yep. And I think it's good still to highlight that we are not like experts on this.
By far.
Yeah.
By far. But we've been through things. We're doing our research. We're learning. We're growing. So we're just sharing what we've learned.
Mm-hmm.
And these are 3 tips that I found for how to get over a breakup. And these are also things that I personally would do or recommend for getting over a breakup as well.
Can we read these together? Can we read one together?
One.
Okay.
Let go of the time spent and allow yourself to grieve the ending of the relationship.
That just made me want to kiss you.
Are you happy?
Just made me want to kiss you. No.
That's an air kiss.
No,
that's enough. I think it's enough for now. So this goes back to the quality versus quantity thing. If you just keep thinking about how long you were with somebody or how long you were friends with somebody, it can make it really hard for you to come to the fact with that their relationship is done.
Mm-hmm. And
I also think, but it is at the same time important to recognize the time you spent so that you can grieve that relationship. I think people think about grieving as in death, but you can grieve a relationship because the relationship has ended. And it's also possible with friendships to grieve what a relationship used to look like. You can still be friends with, and that's something I learned in therapy. You can still be friends with somebody, but the friendship looks very different. Like the friendships that I've had with my core group of people has always been super close. I can come to your house, you can come to my house. We having sleepovers, movie nights. Mm-hmm. We do everything together. But because we're all adults, we have jobs, we have school, we have kids.
Right.
It doesn't look like that.
It's gonna change.
Yeah, and it sucks. It does not feel good, but that's just the reality.
Yeah, you're never gonna get whatever time you have right now.
Yeah,
you're never getting that time back. So you gotta literally take advantage of it. And yeah, it does suck.
It does. And you have to allow yourself to grieve that. Mm-hmm. And that's okay. And it's weird grieving a part of a relationship when you still have that relationship, but that's just the reality of what it is. And I thought it was crazy that I felt that way. And it took for somebody to validate me and say, no, it looks really different. It's not, I don't know what we thought it was going to look like. I don't know if we've ever, like, if you put expectations on that, but it's kind of like when you were a kid, you go outside and play with your friends every day. And then one day is the last day you ever played outside with your friends and you never thought about it.
Yeah.
You know?
Until after the fact.
Yeah. So it's just one of those things.
Yeah.
And then number 2, which kind of plays into number 1 as well, you should allow yourself to feel how you feel. And don't really suppress your feelings. If you're hurt, if you feel lonely, if you feel betrayed, if you feel angry, you know, whatever feelings you have, you should allow yourself to feel them, because bottling them up and pretending you don't feel that is only going to make it a harder grieving process to get through, right, I guess. And then also, you should share how you feel with a therapist. If I recognize that not everybody has access to affordable therapy or therapy at all. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to make note of that when saying that. But if you don't have that, at least talking to a trusted friend or a family member or somebody that is going to, you know, really listen to you or give you sound advice.
And not tell your business and laugh behind your back. Yeah,
and make you feel bad or feel a type of way. Especially, like I was saying before, if you were coming to someone to talk about a friendship breakup, some people might think that's like outrageous, but it's because they've never thought about it themselves. Like wow, like no, all of us to some degree. Well, actually, I still have friends I've been friends with since elementary school, but not all of my friends from elementary school I'm still friends with now. So it's different, but at least just trying to find someone who you feel safe with and you trust to kind of talk about that and navigate that. And then lastly, this is like one tip, but it has several parts. And these are things that I have had to do to get over romantic breakups, friendship breakups, all of the above. Find a hobby.
Yes, do something that you enjoy, that'll take your mind off everything.
Yes. Eat foods that make you feel good. You know, I'm always say that. Eat you something good, like some good comfort food, like something that's gonna make you feel at home, something that makes you feel safe. I don't think a lot of people think about the fact that most of us have a meal that makes us feel that way. Well, everybody's lived experiences are different, but most of us have that. We can think of something like that your mom or your dad or your grandma or your grandpa or somebody would make that's like, this makes me feel so good. And that's something you can do. I'm not saying you should do that every day.
Don't go overboard.
Yeah, don't go overboard.
But do it.
Yeah. And lastly, this is subjective, but maybe you shouldn't follow them on social media.
Yeah, if social media plays a part of your day-to-day life. Some people don't even. Some people are on social media. Some people are not. So
some people don't care.
Yeah, some people don't care.
But if you're going to be on social media, stalking them, seeing are they dating somebody else, seeing what they looking like, seeing do they have new friends, are they treating them better than they treated you, you're just gonna hurt yourself.
Oh, and it could even, because let's say social media cool, or just like in-person stuff too, like in their surroundings or just in areas that you know they would be. If it's just not, if y'all have went y'all separate ways, y'all have broken up, it's probably best to kind of, you stay on your side, they stay on theirs, and
at least for a period of time. At least if it's super fresh, I don't want to, like, you wouldn't want to run into that person. So all of those things are subjective, and if you know it applies to you, it applies to you. And again, these things can also apply to friendship breakups, not just romantic breakups. So I just wanted to end it with that. That's all I got for Help Center. What about you?
No, that was good. I added 2 cents every time you dropped. So, I am content. I'm not full.
Yes, I'm ready to eat. So let's wrap this episode up. Thank you to all the messengers who have been listening to us from the beginning, and thank you to all of the new messengers that we have now. We about to eat, you know what I'm saying? We got a good pot roast, some scalloped potatoes, some honey butter cornbread, some collard greens, and we gotta go.
Let me just tell y'all something. I am super spoiled.
Yes.
Because she done threw down in the kitchen, and I'm ready.
He's very spoiled man. Okay? But all right, it's Wednesday. I lost my train of thought. I'm so ready to eat. You almost there. That's what I was trying to say. Friday is almost here. Just keep going. You're almost there. And we will see y'all right here next Wednesday.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank y'all so much for tuning in to the Message 24 podcast.
If you enjoy this episode and want to see our faces, be sure to head over to the Message 24 Pod YouTube channel and subscribe. And you can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. See you next week.